Welcome to my channel. This video is for a heart-shaped ribbon wreath. Don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, comment, like, and share. I measured out 4 yards of this 2.5-inch width wired buffalo check ribbon, and the reason why I measured it out at 4 yards is because this roll is so big it won't fit in the middle of the heart shape, so I can't use the roll to wrap it around the form. So I had to, and I didn't want to cut it at 4 yards in case it wasn't enough. Then I would have had to cut more ribbon. It might look sloppy, so I just used a clip there and clipped it to the wreath form, and now I'm going to wrap around with that 4 yards. But if I need some extra ribbon, I will still have it attached there on the other end that I can use. So that's why I'm doing it like that. It is making it a little bit more difficult to wrap it, but I'd rather do it this way than have to worry about adding more ribbon. So you just want to be careful when you're doing like these points. And you see I'm just figuring out how it needs to look. Now I'm going to go back and hot glue it, because if you don't hot glue the ribbon to the form, it might move. It probably will move. So it's a good idea just to add a little hot glue. And you see I'm just putting it over the edge of that point of the heart, that way it will stay. And the same with the other side, that way I know it's nice and secure. And when you're wrapping these wreath forms, you want to make sure that you're pulling the ribbon nice and snug. You don't want it loose. So you see I'm pulling it real snug, and you're just overlapping it every time you wrap it. And then you're going to hot glue just a little bit on the wreath form. You don't have to do it every time you wrap, but I would suggest about every other time. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how I wrapped almost the entire thing. Since these hearts are, are such a unique shape, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to wrap. The points were definitely the most difficult part, but I want to make sure that you guys see all of it, just in case you need help with any parts of that heart. Once I get around that second curve, though, I will skip ahead to the end. So just keep wrapping it, pulling it snug, hot gluing just a tiny bit there on the wreath form, and just keep repeating that process over and over again. And you can overlap it as little or as much as you want. If you overlap it quite a bit where you're not seeing very much of the ribbon poking through, what I mean is like the previous ribbon, then you're going to use a lot more ribbon. So just because 4 yards works for me doesn't mean that 4 yards will work for you, because you may not wrap it exactly the same way. And I'm sure every time I wrap one, it's not going to be identical either, because you'd have to be very analytical about how you wrapped them, be perfectly overlapping the ribbon to get it exact every time. So just because this amount of ribbon works for me doesn't mean it will for you. You may want a little bit more. You may use less than I did. Like I said, it just depends on how much you're overlapping the ribbon onto itself. And mine, I overlap it. See, I try to, when you get to the straightaways, it's easier to spread it out a little bit more. When you're in like these curves and stuff, you're going to overlap it more. So, and that's why I wanted to make sure I had some extra on the other end, just in case it wasn't enough, because 4 yards was enough for a candy cane wreath, but that didn't mean it would be enough for the heart, even though the heart is smaller, but it's got the unique shape. So here I am at the end. I already cut off the other side of the ribbon because it was enough, so I just glued it down onto itself over the wreath form so it wouldn't come undone. Now I'm just carefully covering all that up, and then I will cut off the excess ribbon, and I ended up with about 18 inches extra. So what I'm doing, I'm going to make a hanger for it. So I'm just folding this end down at the last piece of ribbon here, folded it down to make it look nice and neat, so there wasn't any fraying or anything, and just glue it down really well. This is the back side of the heart too, if you can't tell. Alright, it's all done. Look how good that looks. And now I'm going to take that 18-inch piece And I'm going to fold down the ends again and glue those down and then glue it to itself. And that way it'll be a nice little hanger. So you can just use this to hang it on, you know, a door hanger that you put over the top of your door, or if you have a hook or whatever you have that you want to use to hang these with. It's just another option. If I'm going to put this on my Etsy shop, if they didn't want to use this, all they would have to do is just fold it behind and tuck it into the ribbon, and you wouldn't even be able to see it. But I'm also going to make a nice little cute little bow for this, and I'll show that. So here I glued both sides down like I said. Now I'm going to glue it to itself, and I will move that part, this glued part, to the back side so you won't even see that anyway. But I want to make sure I glue it nice and well. I'm going to flip it over and make sure that these ends are glued together really well, because you don't want it falling off. Once you get that glued together well, just rotate that glued part so it's on the back side. Now I'm taking several 5/8 inch width ribbons and just cutting a slant on the ends, cut them at 6 inches long, just layered them at like an X shape there, and I'm cutting a piece of twine at 15 inches long. Then I'm going to take all those little ribbons and just kind of pinch the center in and out to make this center real nice and tight, and then wrap that twine around there and tie it in a knot. And this will just be a cute little scrappy bow. These are just different Valentine's Day ribbons. Some of them are like buffalo check or gingham prints, and then some of them have like XOXO and different little patterns on them. So I'm just going to take it and wrap it around that hanger ribbon right there where it's at the top of the wreath form. Just wrap that twine around there real tight, tie it real tight, and then tie a knot, and then flip it over, and I'm going to tie it in a knot again. I want that twine to show. I think that just adds to the, you know, country farmhouse feel of the wreath. And now you'll just twist that top loop so it will go over a hanger or a hook real easily, and it will just hang at an angle. And actually, since that ribbon is not glued to the wreath, you can actually adjust that. You can move it around, so if you want the heart to be hanging at a different angle, it can be. You can just slide that around. And I made a bow for it. I used 2 different ribbons. The top ribbon, I made the loops at 8 inches long, the tail's 12 inches, the back ribbon, the loops are 10 inches, and the tails again are 12 inches. So here's an upcoming video I will be showing. Thanks again for watching,